Tragic news coming in of an earthquake, which is the strongest in recent times. We're talking about 8.8 on the Richter scale that has led to a tsunami with a height of 3 to 4 meters that has been recorded in parts of Kamchatka in Russia. The earthquake that originated in Russia, the tremors are being felt all the way to Japan. The first waves of 30 centimeter hit a city in Hokkaido, which is in the northern part of Japan, and authorities are warning that subsequent waves could be even bigger. The US authorities have issued tsunami warnings for Alaska as well as Hawaii. In fact, they're talking about all island nations, and these are about all the island countries in Hawaii. The tsunami watch is also in effect for the US island territory of Guam and other islands of Micronesia. One of the world's strongest earthquakes struck Russia's Far East early this morning, and that has set off that tsunami in the northern Pacific region and prompted warnings for all these areas. That includes Alaska, Hawaii, and south towards New Zealand as well. Tsunami warning sirens blaring parts in Japan, in Russia, and Honolulu as well, and people move to higher ground. In fact, the authorities have these are visuals that you can see of the ground shaking, the walls shaking, and of course also those plants shaking. People, literally rush to the streets, taking very little with them. In fact, with not even a shirt on their back, literally. The mobile services have also been disrupted. Sirens have been heard blaring in parts of Honolulu, in Japan and Russia as well. This is the strongest earthquake that has been reported since 2011. So in the last 14 years, the strongest earthquake that has rocked Russia. 8.8 on the Richter scale is the magnitude of that earthquake that has triggered tsunami warnings in various parts of the world. The biggest quake that has shook not just Russia but all the way to Japan, and that is where in fact that tsunami with a height of 3 to 4 meters has been recorded in parts. Let's just show you visuals of what it was at about 8 o'clock this morning Indian Standard Time, and what it is an hour from then at about now in an hour's time, the kind of damage and the kind of evacuation orders that we're seeing. Of course, sirens have been blaring in Japan, in Russia, in Honolulu as well. The first wave of 30 centimeters hit a city of Hokkaido in the northern part of Japan, and authorities are now warning that subsequent waves could be even bigger. We're talking about a tsunami that has been reported in Russia as well, in parts of Kamchatka. This is Kamchatka, the area in which 3 to 4 meters height of the tsunami that has been recorded. So the kind of warnings that are being put out is that people are being moved to higher ground, and we have drone visuals of people reaching the highest floor, the rooftops of the buildings, in order to be safe. From what we're hearing is tsunami waves in Hawaii are predicted to be 3 to 10 feet. We are also talking about other adjoining areas, whether it's Santa Barbara or Washington or British Columbia in Canada is also where they are predicting a wave height as well. To know the areas where the impact can be felt, particularly in the areas where the impact has already been felt. Arjun joining us to get us the latest. Arjun, take us through the worst affected areas, other areas that come in, the impact zone of this very, very strong earthquake. We're talking about the strongest since 2011.
That's absolutely correct. Now, the latest visuals we're getting to you from Japan's Hokkaido prefecture, where you can see people seeking higher ground or shelter atop a building here, high-rise building. As we can clearly see, these shots we're getting you from Japan's Hokkaido prefecture, and these are the latest shots, in fact, that we are getting for you right now. People started taking refuge atop high buildings in the Hokkaido prefecture. Now, this after Japan's Meteorological Agency has issued a tsunami alert for Japan's Pacific coast. Now, the Japanese Met Agency also says that a first tsunami wave of about 30 centimeters or 1 foot has already reached Nemuro. Now, this is on the eastern coast of the Hokkaido prefecture. It's one of the 4 big islands in Japan for viewer perspective. Now, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center has in fact said that waves of 1 to 3 meters or 1 to 3 yards above the tide level were also possible along some coastal areas of Hawaii, Chile, Japan, as well as the Solomon Islands. Now, for perspective, the quake was about 250 kilometers or 160 miles away from Hokkaido. It's Japan's northmost of the country's big 4 islands. And the tremors were also felt here despite being 250 kilometers away from the epicenter, which happened to be southeast, 125 kilometers southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula region. Now, Japan is also a part of this area which is known as the Pacific Ring of Fire. It is one of the world's most quake-prone areas, and Japan, of course, the world's most quake-prone country. Now, earlier in July, 5 powerful earthquakes, the largest, in fact, with a magnitude of 7.4, struck near the same area in Kamchatka. Now, we have also shots. The next shot of visuals we have for you is from Hawaii's Honolulu, which also shows tsunami alarms going off in Hawaii's Honolulu. If you can hear the sirens that are actually going on there, I'd ask my team to put the net up on these visuals. Now, moving on to an interactive map that we have for you to track the very genesis of this earthquake to begin with, right here on your screens. So the genesis of this earthquake is right here. If my team could zoom in on this. So this is, the 8.7 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of the Kamchatka Peninsula. There you see it, the Petropavlovsk-Kamchatski. Now, that's the capital of the Kamchatka Peninsula, and this is, in fact, the epicenter of the earthquake that occurred around 125 kilometers southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula. Now, the quake occurred at a shallow depth of around 20 kilometers. That's what we are learning, and what this in turn did was it increased the potential to trigger a tsunami. Now, it happened in the Kuri-Kamchatka Trench, where the Pacific Plate, in fact, it meets, it subducts beneath the North American Plate right here. It's, of course, a region known for high seismic activity. And also, this region was not the only one affected by this massive 8.7 magnitude earthquake. Multiple tsunami alerts have also since gone off in this entire area you see right here, all the way to the west coast of the United States. Now, tsunami alerts have been triggered across the Pacific regions. This includes Russia. It also includes Japan right there, and Alaska, it includes Hawaii, and also, as I said, as we mentioned, the US West Coast, all the way up there through the Pacific. Meanwhile, we also, in the latest, we're getting updates from New Zealand and Australia that, in fact, the tsunami waves have not reached both these countries, the land down under and its neighbor New Zealand till now. Back to you.
Right, thank you so much, Arjun, for taking us through the impact of this earthquake. It's very initial right now in order to know the extensive damage that this earthquake and tsunami that is causing various, in various parts of the world. Well, let's just get you details. There's a press conference that's being held in order to get us more details on this. Listen in.
We're emergency management administrators. So that's a purview of how we're postured right now.
Mahalo, Taihan Governor. We'll do some media Q&A, and we'll just take one per media outlet who's present. Le'ui, I'd like to start with you.
Can you, once again, this is for either Governor or for yourself, General Logan, underscore the contingency plans for those areas like Hana around Kauai, those one road areas, those vulnerable areas that you mentioned earlier?
So we constantly exercise with the counties, and the county has a very robust plan. Specific to Maui, they are, of course, a multi-island county, but working with Mayor Bisson and his team, they have a response capability. Luckily for the National Guard, we're a community-based organization and we're postured on all the major islands so we can activate more soldiers and airmen as necessary to assist the county. DOT also has assets, the State Department of Transportation, to assist the county departments of transportation with either clearing those roads or conducting their own evacuations. Thank you for that question.
Let me add, just for coordination so everyone understands, we were immediately in contact with our congressional delegation who were diligent and on the spot, offering us whatever support we needed also and communication support. We also are prepared to continuously have our EOCs activated on all of the islands. The mayors are in charge. We've been in constant communication with them as well. So everyone is prepared, everyone is ready for what may come, but there is always some uncertainty about the size of the wave. In about 5 minutes, we'll reconvene a statewide meeting. We will hear
aftershocks in the region over the following days or weeks, which may cause additional disruptions. In fact, that is what is really being put out by the authorities. The authorities are saying that the warning is not just for Russia and for Japan, but also the United States, which includes parts of Alaska, Honolulu, as well as the entire West Coast that could see, a storm surge, so to say. And this has basically happened in the past as well. We have, in order to know this, Dr. Ajay Paul is joining us in order to give us a better sense of what this really means. Sir, thank you for speaking with us. Of course, it is very initial at the moment in order to know the extent of damage. But from what we're hearing and from the initial reports is that the damage as far as Japan is concerned has been less than what was initially forecast. Are we being given reasons to believe that due to the direction of the tsunami, Japan is less at risk than, say, other parts of the Pacific?
You see, as far as the damage is concerned, since the focus of the earthquake is in the bottom of the sea, in such a situation, and that to something like 100 kilometers from the coast, the vibrational damage on the land would be minimal. But due to the impact of this release of energy, what we call and this is a great earthquake, magnitude greater than 8. So the tsunami warning for Japan as well as Russia. And not only that, the impact of the high tides would be around, which we call the ring of fire, on the eastern coast, on the western coast of America also. And there might be some impact in the New Zealand and Australia, though there are no reports. But as far as your question is concerned, yes, it will have an impact more on the Japan side and lesser on the Russian side because of the slip motion of the fault. And since it might take some time to reach to the other part of the, because half of the world is now covered with these two regions. Basically, there are two things. Alpine belt as far as the India is concerned, and this is the Pacific belt, what we call as the ring of fire. So the reason is that half of the world is now being covered by this high seismic risk belt. It has to be that tsunami warning should be there for all the regions that are connected to this ring of fire. Now,
this is really bringing to mind the earthquake and tsunami resembling a historic incident that took place in 1952 in the similar region of Kamchatka in Russia's Far East that caused extensive damage and a tsunami. How long will these warnings be in place, particularly given the fact that, this is going all the way, we're talking about whether it's the United States and other areas, and it's not just Japan, but adjoining areas as well.
You see, if you remember the case of the 2004, when it was the Indonesian earthquake and it struck the Indian coast quite, it was something like 3 to 4 hours after the quake originated. So as far as Japan and Russia is concerned, it might take about 2 hours or 2.5 hours or maybe 3 to 4 hours, but it isn't the case. The tsunami generated that would affect on the other side of that means the western side of America. It'll take much longer time, but it might, because the depth of the ocean here is less. It may be something like 12 to 14 kilometers. So it will have an impact. It will take some time. Maybe it will take something like 10 hours or 12 hours that will reach the other coast of the America, and it might hit it. And not only that, the aftershocks of such a high magnitude earthquake, they could also generate tsunami, because it might be that something like greater than 7.5 earthquake might might occur as an aftershock. So as far as the tsunami warning is concerned, I think it will be something like 2 to 3 days that we have to see that what is the impact and how far is the impact and how long is the impact.
Right, tsunami warnings in place for Taiwan as well as Philippines, Japan, Russia. We're talking about, of course, like you mentioned, in the United States as well. And it is the President of the United States who has put out that warning. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking with us here on NDTV. Let's just get you visuals of the kind of damage that has been seen since early this morning, that is being reported from various parts. And here you have visuals on your screen playing from most parts of Japan and Russia, where of course the warning sirens have been blaring. People have been asked to move to higher ground. People have been actually taking shelter as far as the rooftops of their buildings are concerned, moving out, in fact, with very little, with less than a shirt on their back, and literally leaving their homes and their residences, getting onto the streets, getting onto higher ground. And that is the kind of warning that is being put out, and that's in place, in fact, the authorities have in fact been saying. So it is Japan that has issued that tsunami advisory for much of its east coast, warning of waves up to 3 meters high. Tsunami warnings are in place not just for Japan and for Russia. Of course, several people were injured in Russia's Far East during the earthquake is what is being reported at the moment. So a lot of precaution is now being asked of people. They're being asked to move to higher area. People are being evacuated, particularly from low-lying areas. That is the authorities and rescue operations are underway. This is in fact from the visuals that you can see, several buildings were swept away in the town of in the Kuril Islands when tsunami waves hit earlier today.